Hi guys, thanks for joining us on the video today. We have a special guest from San Diego today, Andres Mazabel. I knew I was going to say his name wrong. Andres Mazabel, who's the Business Development Manager for Trust and Will. And what we're going to go through today is how estate planning is the missing piece for financial advisors. Hi, Andreas. Thanks for jumping on with us today.
Absolutely. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
No, not at all. And it's great to speak to you. I know you're really an expert on everything around trust and wills and sort of how that impacts advisory businesses, which is why we were delighted to really get you to come on and chat to us today. Do you want to just maybe tell people a little bit about just your role and what you're part of there with trust and will, just so they can kind of understand the context?
Yeah, absolutely. So really quick, actually, even before trust and will, I spent roughly about 13 years in private banking. So one, I'm actually extremely passionate about the work that planners are doing for families. I think it's a very, very important role that planners are doing in what they're doing with families. And I came on board here at Trust and Will roughly about a year ago, and we're on a mission to make estate planning more accessible. Right. I think personally, it's one of the big missing pieces of what an advisor is doing when it looks at the kind of holistic piece of their client's plan that they're implementing. So very passionate about it. We started here in San Diego a little bit over 3.5 years ago, and super excited about the conversation that we're about to have, Paul.
Sure, great. And listen, as you say, you're kind of up to your neck in trust and wills, and you really kind of get that area. But let me challenge you a little bit on it. Why should a financial advisor care? Okay, they're busy. They've got a lot of things going on. They've got different products and things that they're focusing on. Why should they care about it as sort of something like trust and wills?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, why wouldn't they care? Right.
Of course.
When you kind of look at the true, when I talked to Carl Richards last year, it's what's the true value of an advisor today? Right. I think technology is really evolving things in this industry, right? Where I can go out and find an investment vehicle based on my risk, my age, and it's cheap, right? So now as a planner, what's the true value that you're providing? And it's really around the planning conversation. It's around the priorities that the client has and the goals. So I think planners do a really good job of that. But we talk to advisors every single day. And most clients don't have an estate plan in place. So if we're really doing the full work of looking at your whole picture, an estate plan should definitely be a part of that. It helps protect the plan that they have in place. 2, it adds peace of mind. And then 3, I think as an advisor, like this is my vision. As an advisor, I want an advisor to look at their book of business and say, I've helped educate my clients about estate planning, and most of my clients have one. See, because I've been in the shoes, literally, where clients came to me because something happened and a loved one was in the hospital, and we would have to print out a durable power of attorney at the bank. Then they would take it to the hospital to get it notarized there so that they had those pieces in mind, but it was last minute. It was a ton of chaos and a ton of fear. So just imagine the value, the peace of mind that an advisor can help add for their clients by having this in place.
Okay. I suppose that makes me think, is this not maybe a problem that advisors are already solving for themselves, if you understand what I mean? Maybe they might have a relationship locally with someone who specializes in it. Maybe they've done some additional qualifications to try and kind of get it on top of it themselves. Does that not tend to happen?
Look, I think there's a lot of planners that have relationships with attorneys and they do a good job of, trying to bring it up. But then that's usually where we see it, where we've seen a lot of pain points. The process of going through an attorney can be very expensive. It can be daunting, right? So in most cases, in my experience and the feedback that I get every day, I believe some advisors are just very reactive when it comes to estate planning. Meaning, if a client comes to me and says, Andres, I know we need to set up a trust. Do you have a recommendation for a trust attorney?
Mhm.
That referral will happen, right? Like I used to do it every day. Like, hey, here's John down the street, give him a call, great attorney. But then the client never takes action.
Mhm.
So the way my team and I here at Trust and Will want to change that is for the advisor to actually be more proactive, to help
Mhm.
educate. I believe lack of education in estate planning is one of the biggest barriers for
Mhm.
clients to create an estate plan. Most clients think that if for you to create a trust, you should have $5 million dollars,
Mhm.
and it's going to cost you thousands of dollars. And in most cases, it does.
Mhm.
So how can we help families, either ones that are just starting for a brand new advisor, or for clients that's getting close to retirement that has talked about creating a trust for 20 years, but they haven't done it yet?
Mhm.
How can we help planners and advisors be a little bit more proactive when it comes to that? And that's a platform that we've created.
Okay, so you're essentially a disruptor. Would that be fair to say within the industry, where you specialize quite specifically in trusts and wills, and you do it with your specific methodology in order to kind of take it off the advisor's plate? Is that kind of the attitude you're taking to it?
Absolutely, Paul. I
Hmm.
mean, look, if you look at the process of creating a will or creating a trust, specifically here in the US and abroad as well,
Hmm.
it's very, very old school. I
Hmm.
mean, you're going to an attorney. For some families, they should be going to an attorney because they have a very complicated high net worth. But
Hmm.
look here, Paul, in the US, more than 60% of families don't have any plans in place. They're parents, they're homeowners.
Hmm.
So absolutely, we're disrupting a very, very old school industry. And we're doing something very similar to what TurboTax did for tax preparation.
Hmm.
And people love it. It's having a platform that's affordable, that's easy to use, and that's modern.
Hmm.
And we've complemented that with live customer support because we understand most people have never looked into a trust or a will.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
we're helping advisors just have a little bit more of a modern option that they can be more relevant when it comes to
Hmm.
planning. And the feedback we get is, hey, I've been talking to that client for like 5 years about creating a trust. They
Hmm.
went through your platform, they talked to your customer support, they got it done online. It was seamless. So
Hmm.
absolutely disrupting a very old school industry.
Okay. And my impression, and correct me if I'm wrong, and from talking to a lot of advisors and planners, and this is not just in the US, this is globally very much so, that a lot of the time the advisors don't really want the trust and sort of will work, just because they sometimes don't feel like they've got the expertise, that they want to just focus on the financial end of things, which is potentially more lucrative, less technical in to a certain extent. I know in the UK, some of the trusts can be very, very technical, and a lot of them are actually done by the advisors rather than specifically by the legal people. So it sometimes can be something they kind of hold at arm's length. They try and almost get away from it as it's something to talk to their clients about. And is that the problem that you guys solve? Is that where you guys specifically come in?
Well, I think first and foremost, an advisor should never be giving legal advice,
Hmm.
right? Definitely stay out of that. And we don't
Hmm.
want advisors to be experts in estate planning.
Hmm.
But I will tell you that the advisors that we've seen that we work with that are very successful in most of their clients having a plan, they understand the basics of it.
Hmm.
But from there, it's a matter of using our resources, right? Like we offer live customer support nationwide. We have attorney support as well if a client actually wants to talk to an attorney. So we never want to put that pressure on an advisor to say, hey, you should be the go-to for estate planning for your clients. That's
Hmm.
the last thing we want to do. Because as you said, it's they have other things to focus on and that is not their expertise. So
Hmm.
leveraging the resources and the platform that we have to really just add peace of mind,
Hmm.
add more value. I think if you look at it from a perspective, like we have conversations with newer advisors that are just getting started.
Hmm.
And Paul, imagine if we have a conversation, it's a first time meeting,
Hmm.
and we talk about how I can help you and what are some of your concerns of your financial picture. But then I also bring up, hey, I that's amazing. I just saw, or you just told me that you had your first child. Have
Hmm.
you thought about creating a will? Have you thought about creating a guardianship?
Mhm.
And there's this mind shift from the prospect. Wow, Andreas isn't just worried about the insurance policy or isn't just worried about the money that I have sitting in cash. He's
Mhm.
starting to look at my everything, which is my family, what's most important. So
Right.
it's this very unique approach on how you build trust and value really quickly with both
Mhm.
prospects and obviously with your existing book of business.
Okay. And is there sort of common pitfalls or mistakes that advisors tend to make in relation to this? If you had a kind of a what not to do list, what might be on
Honestly, not doing it. Many advisors, like really
Yeah.
many advisors, they feel like they need to be an expert in estate planning or they don't
Mhm.
understand it well enough.
Mhm.
So to kind of protect yourself, you just don't bring it up. You don't talk about it much.
Mhm.
And I would argue 80-90% of advisors today are not as proactive when it comes to estate planning every day. So
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing.
Mhm. And the other sort of hot topic that I hear a lot about at the moment is kind of intergenerational sort of planning and how, obviously the assets of the elderly parents to the son, to the grandkids, and how that gets managed. Does that come into play with your trusts and your wills and helping people kind of manage that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at it from a perspective as well as an advisor. Why is it also important outside of the peace of mind, the value? Well, when a client's creating an estate plan, you're also able to see what other assets they have outside. See, in most cases, if you're just starting to work with the clients, a lot of times they're going to give you a percentage of their wallet, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
how can you, great, within the estate plan, actually look and see what other assets your client has outside? And then two, as you mentioned, Paul, is also being able to say, how can I build relationships with the whole family? So I'm
Hmm.
managing the net worth of husband and wife, right? But we know that their kids are very involved. So
Hmm.
by helping create the estate plan and getting to build that relationship with the beneficiaries, you're able to essentially long-term have a relationship with everyone so that you can keep the assets,
Hmm.
when clients do start passing.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. All right, and have you got maybe three tips, on estate planning being the missing piece for advisors that you can kind of fire out there that people can kind of take away?
It's a good question. I would say if you talk to clients or even
Hmm.
family and friends about estate
Hmm.
planning,
Hmm.
90% of people are going to tell you, I know, it's on my list. I need to do it.
Hmm.
So it's a matter of, you know, doing a little bit due diligence so that
Hmm.
you're kind of well prepared to talk about it, and then having the right resources.
Hmm.
Companies like us are totally disrupting it. So it's how advisors, either on the RA space or on the broker dealer, you're going to set yourself apart from the competition.
Okay.
People need it, they want it, and
Hmm.
that's just an extra layer of value add that as an advisor you're bringing into the relationship. So just be more proactive about it, and we're here to support that.
Okay. So it's simple. Just get stuck in, basically. Get stuck in and get it done. Now, your platform is obviously technology driven. It's online. It's user friendly. It's driven by customer service and so on. So it's very much a self-serve platform for the clients of advisors. Is that how it works?
Yeah, it's amazing. Give you a high level overview. We offer an actual dashboard for advisors, and from there they're able to send articles about estate planning to
Hmm.
educate. And
Hmm.
then two, it's really unique. You're able to essentially, you have a conversation with the clients or you're doing a review. You're able to send your clients an actual link directly via your dashboard. And
Hmm.
that introduces them over to Trust and Will. And then from there, there's a ton of really valuable information we pass back to the advisor. When the client started the estate plan, when they finished it, in the future, they'll actually be able to view completed documents directly via the dashboard. And then the client gets a 10% discount. And the way we've modernized everything, it's both the advisor and the
Hmm.
client.
Hmm.
Just really, really good feedback that we continue to get every single day.
Brilliant. So the platform and the technology essentially does most of the work and it simplifies it for everybody, and they can upload their documents online. So for the the younger generation that likes to do everything through an app and a phone and a tablet and so on, it just becomes fairly seamless. Is that
Yeah.
fair to say?
Yeah. And it's just absolutely. And it's just a way, I think, too, for an advisor to be more relevant when it comes to like technology and what do clients prefer, depending on the demographic, depending on the niche. We're all, especially if you're starting a book of business or you've been in the business 10, 15 years, I'm assuming more and more you're starting to work with clients that are in their 30s and their 40s. And we are just so in tune with technology. We still see the value of what a planner can bring in. And I think we've seen that specifically here in the last year. But two, we also want to be able to say, great, well, I personally, I love doing my taxes on TurboTax, right? I'm 33 and I really, for whatever reason, I look forward to it. So how can, as an advisor, you be a little bit more relevant to what your client likes to do and implement a modern approach to estate planning as an option as well?
Makes a lot of sense. And if you were talking to a new advisor who's obviously sort of starting out in the world, trying to build their book and get things going, work out what's important, what areas they want to focus on, if you were talking to them about obviously everything around trust and wills, would you have any kind of advice for them that might make the path a little bit easier?
Kind of that example I was talking about. I mean, is your question specifically around estate planning?
No, it's specifically around growing a new practice and how estate planning potentially fits into that, if you understand. I mean, in the beginning, you're trying to work out, who you're going to deal with, how you're going to build your book, what you're going to do, and so on. But is there any specific advice you give to that newer advisor?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of that example I was talking about at the beginning when it comes to when you're talking to a prospect, when you're talking to your client, it's not just focusing on what you can offer them in terms of the product or the service. But it's kind of the holistic approach on saying, what else can I help you with, right? And estate planning, I think, is really important. Outside of estate planning, I think it's just a matter of like being relevant, as I was talking about, right? I know I work with many advisors that are now just virtual. They like having the virtual model where you're able to chat with your clients directly online. You're able to kind of build a footprint online. And then it's a matter of, I don't know, really looking at who do you want to work with? Okay. And I know it's challenging in some ways at first to have your niche picked out within your first year. I know that. Everyone says, hey, have your niche picked out, but it takes time for you to kind of really develop that. But I think there's a lot that a newer advisor can do in having like this vision of like what they enjoy doing, who do they enjoy talking to, and then hopefully building the actions in the business plan that kind of follow that for you to eventually for you to have that vision come to fruition.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. We would talk to newer advisors a lot about, as you say, picking the niche and being clear about it and really kind of going after it. As you say, sometimes they don't know who they should be going after. They don't know who they like to work with or who, potentially they can click with. So yeah, absolutely. That's really kind of important advice. And where do you see all of this going? Now, do you guys as a business, do you localize for every state in the US? Is that how your business is kind of set up, or is it more on a national basis?
So it's on a national base, but everything we do is state specific.
Right.
So here in the US, every state is very complicated. They have their own laws, regulations. So we offer state specific plans in all 50 states. Right. And then for families that actually want to talk to a licensed attorney in that state, we're also partnering with local attorneys in the specific state for that client, if they want to have access to an attorney that will provide actual legal advice.
And where do you see the industry overall going? I mean, obviously you guys are really pioneering using technology to outsource trust and wills. I totally get that. Where do you see it growing in 3, 5, 10 years?
Everything will keep moving digitally. I mean, give you an example, Paul. Even today, in most states, we are still shipping out the physical estate plan in the mail.
Right.
And then they have to go and get it notarized.
Right.
It's such an old school process. Like we have so much technology in place. So I'll give you an example. In 2 states, Florida and Nevada, we are able to actually have a client complete their estate plan online and within minutes have a notary show up via Zoom. We partner with a company called Notarize to notarize your documents online. So you don't have to go to the bank. You don't have to go to UPS. right?
Yeah.
That, and then two, we also really want to be a big pioneer in how you fund your trust,
Mm-hmm.
or in how I notify my loved ones that I created an estate plan. And then
Mm-hmm.
eventually down the line, helping avoid the probate process through a judge, through a court.
Mm-hmm.
It's a system that is extremely old. It's very
Mm-hmm.
old school.
Mm-hmm.
And for advisors and if they've had clients that have gone through the process, you rarely hear like, oh, that was such a great process that I went through. So
Yeah.
we're doing our work every single day to help modernize this very, very old school process.
Excellent. And listen, that's really what it comes down to. And funnily enough, whether it's in the US or it's outside the US, it's still a very old school, difficult kind of process that advisors struggle to understand, that clients struggle to understand as well. I think everybody maybe sees the value in a trust, but maybe can't understand how to put it all together and to tie all their assets up in the right kind of way. So there's a lot more, I think, progression that can be made with technology. And you guys are at the forefront of it, but not just in the US, but instead internationally as well. Well, listen, thank you very much for talking to us today. I really appreciate that, and hopefully people got some insights into what's happening around trust and wills. Obviously, we'll put your links to your website and your contact details in the show notes. People do want to get in touch. What's the best way to do it with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So on LinkedIn, Andres Mazabel, and then go check out our actual platform. It's trustandwill.com/advisors.
Excellent. Listen, thank you so much for your time today, Andres. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And best of luck with the growth of the business. Okay.
Thanks so much, Paul. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care.